Here's a question that quite a few of us Western players have been wondering as we look at the Japanese lists. Why do they keep playing 10k vanillas? So, the trend of these little simple dudes, but very effective dudes, is, well, it started with something that is currently a misconception, I would say, because right now a lot of Western players think that the reason why 10k vanillas are played are because grade 1 7Cs and that's the end of it. Sure, that was the start of it, and yes, I have tried to confirm most of my points with Japanese players, but it did start with grade 1 7Cs because, it's something really fast and you need to be a bit more defensive, and, decks like Chronojet did play it from very early on, but that is no longer the main reason. Now, it has become the main reason because we're in this very fast early rush meta where people call their starters to the side and go like 7, 12, and then they go 9, and then another 12, and here's another 9, and you're getting all these attacks, boom, 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 and then Night Rose is going boom, 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 and you're just, your hand's being depleted, your damage is going up, you run into grade 3, you're already on 4 or 5 damage, and you're like, what am I gonna do now? Because of that, Japan adapted the 10k vanillas because there are a few reasons. One, when you play a 10k vanilla, if the opponent isn't playing them and they ride to their 9k Vanguard and call their 9k rearguards, they're just not gonna hit without triggers or special skills. Next reason is that even though we have stuff like Sabreeze, people still do stall on grade 2 because they need that first stride. The first good stride. Not Sabreeze first stride, but the first actual stride of their own. So people still stall in grade 2, and that kind of does help it in a way, so that is one of the other reasons, but it's not so much the main reason in my opinion. But because of this rush meta, how we've seen some Night Rose games that even I've commented where, it's normal to call the starter to the front and then, just kind of attack with it, swing with it, poke with it, and stuff like that. But if you play 10k vanilla, you're sitting on your 10k vanilla grade 2, and your opponent rides to the grade 2 9k, if they don't have a booster behind, they're not going to hit without a trigger, so you force them to play that other booster, grade 0 or grade 1, from hand to the Vanguard in order to actually have a chance of hitting without, bothering with triggers beforehand. So you're kind of forcing your opponent to commit more than they normally would because you have this 10k sitting on there on turn 2. So it's very, very important for that reason, and it helps you live on for the late game. Speaking of late game, there are some decks, like Luard especially, and to some extent Chronojet, which need to wait until late game. They need to stride a couple of times, build up some advantage, and then start going for game. Decks like Night Rose can win on first stride easily. So can Chronojet, but it really needs to be on first stride. It can't go around poking early on because it won't be able to bring back those advantages, while Night Rose can just, bring everything back from drop zone even if you kill it off. So Luard is the perfect example of why it runs, at least 4 10Ks, or in some cases 6 or 8, because that deck needs to last until it can, start doing its magic later on. Because in early game it's not really doing much. It can also, try to respond with pokes, but it's not going to be as effective because its resources aren't going to be coming out yet. So those are basically the main reasons why 10Ks are played in Japan, and I know that a lot of people have not really been explained to, I guess, why these changes are happening. But the main reason this is happening in Japan and not in the West is because of a cultural difference. In Japan, they have local tournaments every single day, not just weekend how we have them here, but like in a busy part of Tokyo you can find a local just like every single day, maybe like a few in one day as well. And because they have so many tournaments, and even locals do have a fairly big attendance compared to, the Western locals, they're still gonna have this always changing metagame. And so because there's so many tournaments, if they don't adapt to changes in the meta fast, they're gonna be left behind. That's why they had to instantly put in the 10k vanillas, because they're like, oh shit, I need to somehow live against this fast meta with my slower deck, so I have to put them in there. Same reason why, I would put 10k vanillas in Dimensional Robos, because it helps me for that goal as well. So, my main conclusion is, apart from the points that we explained, is that don't forget that this is, to some extent, a cultural difference, and that Japan's, pace of game is super fast, and they always have tournaments big tournaments almost every weekend. Smaller scale shop tournaments almost every single day. So because they have so many tournaments and everything changes so fast, they need to adapt and make changes immediately. That's why we don't see this in Europe and America, just overall in the Western side. because we don't have this opportunity to play every single day and see, you know, in a competitive environment that is, and see all these changes non-stop, you know, going on from each player's side. So it's kind of a cultural difference, so I did want to explain that as well, because I know a lot of people are going to see Japanese lists, they're going to see 8 10k vanillas in Blue Art, and they're going to copy it without really knowing the reason why. So I hope this video did help and did explain the main reasons why 10k vanillas are played, and I did, you know, make sure to ask at least a couple Japanese players beforehand to confirm that my points aren't just, you know, trivia and random observation. So these are actually fairly confirmed. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for watching this more kind of, it's a bit of a PSA video really, but I really wanted to get it out there, and I really wanted to get it out there now. You know, wake up, get up and get out there. I'm in that Persona mood right now, but yeah, so I hope this did help, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.